Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Winners and Winers Radio. I'm your host, Scott Steehn, lead handicapper over at winnersandwiners.com.
And I'm your co-host, Scott Reichel, senior handicapper over at winnersandwiners.com.
And together we make up Winners and Winers Radio. Give us an hour, and we'll give you the winners. Scott, how are you doing today, buddy?
Overall, doing pretty well. I was happy the U.S. Open started back up. I ended up having a couple live plays, a couple of plays itself, and it worked out pretty well. Ended up having a play today on it, and I called out an underdog on this show. I said Isner was going to lose, and he lost in straight sets. So pretty good day for me. How was your day?
Not bad. Not bad at all. We had the Toronto Blue Jays to take care of business there, and they were, thanks to Vlad Guerrero. Hey, I don't know if you knew this. He's pretty good. Have you seen this kid play? Very strong. Good.
He has the same name as this other guy who used to play, but I think his name was Senior, and he was also good too.
Little better eye than that guy.
They're both going to have a lot of hardware when they retire.
Absolutely right. So it is good to be with you all here on the Tuesday edition. We have got a fun show. We're going to talk a little NFL. We're going to talk a little U.S. Open tennis, of course, baseball, maybe toss a little college football in there some way or another. And it's going to be great. We want to say a special shout out to everybody down there that's dealing with Hurricane Ida. Scott, you guys are going to actually have that up there where you live in a couple of days, aren't you?
I believe a bit of it, but definitely not the main piece of
it. It'll be like, 20-mile-an-hour winds and 3 inches of rain. It's not exactly going to be, Hurricane City, but you will have the remnants of the storm there.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you guys dodge a lot of hurricane bullets being in New York, don't you?
I've witnessed my fair share of tropical storms in my time, but yes.
Didn't really realize that. All right, fair enough. All right, guys. Well, let's get it rolling here because we got a lot of the show to get to. So let's talk about the people that maybe didn't do so well, Scott. And of course, I know everybody's tuning in today for the Bad Beach for the Call the Cops segment. Going, man, I hope they've got some tennis lined up. And indeed, we do, Scott. You took me down. You wore me down, and we were able to put some tennis in there. So let's find out who took it in the shorts, who thought they had a straight set winner, and then they didn't. Hey, get ready to call the cops, would you? All right, Scott. Well, we're going to start off not in the world of tennis, but we are going to start off in Major League Baseball. And this is going to be the Orioles and the Blue Jays game that I was just talking about. The under 9.5 there had 2 runs in the first 5 innings. They had 9 runs going into the 9th. And then you've heard this story before, Scott, as the Blue Jays had a commanding 7-2 lead. The Orioles, for no apparent reason, I think I actually put a lot of base runners on there. It could have been worse, but they did scratch across that meaningless run in the top of the 9th. And of course, we have meaningless in quotation marks because it's only meaningless if you didn't have a bet on the total. If you had the under 9.5 there, it definitely wasn't meaningless to you. It made the difference between cashing a winning ticket and calling the cops.
And now it's time to talk about some tennis. If you had a Duckworth -4 on the game spread against Martinez.
Couldn't wait to get my money in on Duckworth.
I'm sure. Well, he won the first 2 sets 6-4, 6-4, which is equal to 4 games. Yeah, all he needed to do was win the third set any way possible. And he had 5 chances to do so. He had 5 match points in the third set. He blew them, lost in a tiebreaker, but that's okay because you're still up 3 games. You just need to win 1 more set. It's all good. It's still doable. And then, unfortunately for Duckworth, he fell apart completely, and he lost the match outright. You needed to win in the third set, or you had 5 chances to do so. He blew them, and then you end up losing the next 3 sets, and you lose your bet. That's got to hurt.
Oh, I'm sorry. You done now?
Yeah. You have a tennis one next, so.
I know. I'm aware. If you had Vesely on the money line, you were getting a heck of a price, plus 290 as he squared off against Anderson. Oh, that guy still owes me money. This is a weird one, Scott, because Vesely did not get broken for the entire match, still lost in 5 sets. That is very difficult to do. I know you're a tennis guy. How often does that happen?
Not that often. I know I actually mentioned something about that with I believe it was Sam Querrey a couple of months ago where he lost a 3-set match without even facing a break point in 3 sets. But of course, the U.S. Open and now other majors have 5th-set qualifiers, have a 5th-set tiebreak. So you don't actually have to win a match without breaking somebody anymore. And Anderson didn't break him, but he won the match.
Amazing. Yeah, if you had Vesely plus 290, yeah, fine play. They were evenly matched, but somebody's got to win, and it wasn't him. Time for you to call the cops. All right, of course, the opposite of call the cops. This is the good news section. These are the people that had those nice, easy winners. You didn't have to have any sort of sweat at all. You could just sit there in your chair, have a little lemonade, enjoy the day because you were sitting where, Scott?
In the rocking chair.
In the rocking chair.
So the first one wasn't a matchup between the Brewers and the Giants. And if you backed Corbin Burns, you had a nice, easy winner in the first 5 because the Brewers led 1-0 after 1, led 2-0 after 2. And that was it because this Burns guy, really, really good. And the Giants could barely touch him.
Mr. Burns is excellent.
Yep.
No question about it. Hey, if you had the Twins Tigers under 9, didn't have much sweat in that one. 1 run in the 3rd inning, 3 runs in the 4th, 1 run in the 5th. And that was pretty much all she wrote. You could just leave at that point because there was no runs in the other 6 innings. That game ended up 3-2. If you had the under 9 there, nice, easy rocking chair win for you.
And the last one wasn't a match between the Phillies and the Nationals. If you had the over 8, you had 3 runs in the first, 3 runs in the second, 4 runs in the third. That's equal to 10 runs if you're doing the math at home, and 10 is greater than 8. You cashed your bet after 3 innings, and the game ended 7-4.
Outstanding. I'm really kind of disappointed. Do we not have any rocking chair tennis wins today?
There were a lot of them, but
I was going to say on opening day of the U.S. Open, there's no rocking chairs.
I could have mentioned a couple if you wanted me to.
No, I didn't, but I just figured you'd try to sneak one in.
Okay. That's why I didn't do it.
All right, good enough. All right, Scott. Oh man, today we had no disagreement about this one at all. We suggested it at the same time. We knew where we were headed. We have to talk about it. It's one of the all-time classics, Scott. I don't know if it's the biggest one, but it's certainly right up there for Hall of Fame consideration. Let's find out who's strapping on the golden feed bag today, Scott. Who indeed is the donkey of the day? All right, my friend. Well, you may have heard about it. Now, these guys have been the donkey of the day before, but I don't know that it has been quite this bad. Our donkey of the day is ESPN. And I don't know if you heard this story or not, but they had a high school football game on Sunday, as they often do, between some of the top programs in the nation. At IMG Academy out of Florida, that is basically where you send your children to play if you think they have a shot of playing in the NFL someday. Gets them ready, and they've got, of course, all kinds of lines in the college programs and everything like that. Great team is what I'm trying to say to you. They played a team from Ohio, Scott, called Bishop Sycamore. Well, that should be your first clue right there, because Sycamore, as far as I know, is the name of a tree, not the name of an actual person who would be a bishop. But I digress, because Bishop Sycamore, Scott, they weren't very good. They're not very good at all. And in fact, what they do is they are pretty much the Washington Generals of high school football. They travel, they play teams that are far above their level. In fact, they played IMG last season because basically no one else would with COVID and everything. They lost 56-3. Now, that wasn't that big of a deal. Nobody really talked about Scott, because it wasn't on TV. It wasn't on ESPN on a Sunday with everybody watching, but the game on Sunday sure was. Can you tell us what happened in that game? Is it the little engine that could? Is it the underdog story of the year? Did those rapscallions from Bishop Sycamore take it to the guys at IMG, Scott?
I think it got worse.
Oh,
they got absolutely buried on national television.
I think, was it 56-0? Was that the final?
I know they didn't score.
Right. I think it was in the 50s. I think it was either 55 or 56-0. just brutal. I spent all my time reading about the background and how this came to be, and I forgot to write down the score. Not gonna lie, folks. It's you're kind of seeing live radio right here in action, but it's really a fascinating story because this dude has done it before with another school, and it's a whole thing. It's an absolute fantastic story. But the bottom line is ESPN did no vetting of Bishop Sycamore whatsoever. They have a couple of guys that I didn't even know this was a thing, that they put together these matches between schools, these, Demeter out of LA and, some of the other fantastic schools back on the East Coast and stuff. And they match these schools up, whatever. So ESPN had no due diligence, none at all. That's inexcusable. All right, I've ranted. What do you got to say about this?
We put in more research writing about the donkey of the day than they did booking the actual team.
Very good. Oh, that's outstanding. I think that's absolutely true. We did more background for this story than they did for that game. And yeah, brutal. And ESPN deservedly wears the golden feed bag today. You don't get much donkeyer than that. As they, even the announcers were saying what they were mainly worried about is somebody getting hurt when it was 30-0 in the second quarter. And they talked about ever heard of any of these players? They're not on anybody's list of prospects, but we took their word for it. And right now I'm just worried about player safety. And that was exactly the case. It was ugly. It was ridiculous.
In ESPN's defense, are they sure they have enough billions of dollars to research a fake high school team?
Yeah. Don't you guys, you don't have any interns? You got no interns there. You got no PAs, no production assistants you can turn loose for that project for $18 an hour. Come on, stop it, ESPN. You want to be a big player? Act like you're a big player. Good grief. Donkeys of the day once again. All right, Scott. Now we're going to pat ourselves on the back here just a little bit. You were really on this one, and I agreed with you. The odds makers, man, they were drinking again today, and we're going to find out just how drunk these guys were. It's time for the odds makers. They're drunk. Take it away, hero.
So, looking at the Rockies taking on the Rangers yesterday, I mentioned yesterday I like the Rangers on the money line, not because the Rangers are any good, but because the Rockies were minus 145, even though they had lost 46 of their first 65 road games. And the Rangers won because the Rockies never went on the road.
Again, the Rockies are terrible. If you look at the stats for almost all of their starting pitchers, inexplicably, they are all better at Coors Field. And, of course, German Marquez was right there with them. He wasn't terrible, but the kid, Alexi?
Yeah, Alexi was good.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was a fantastic thing as the Texas Rangers did it to it. They win 4-3. Odds makers, man, they were a little bit drunk, Scott. They really were. Now, in some of the games, one of the games where they weren't drunk, and I was worried about this one for about half of it. The big line was, of course, Toronto taking care of business against Baltimore. And that one, by the time it went off at DraftKings, it was minus 365. Bovada was minus 350. So the odds makers, they took it in the shorts there, buddy. They kept moving the line. Didn't matter as the Toronto Blue Jays put the hammer down on that one. So anything else jump to your mind?
Not really. It was mostly looking at that one game and just looking at the fact that the Rockies, on principle, should never be minus 130 or above on the road. It just doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely ridiculous. Just no sense at all. This is in any other season, they would be the absolute worst road team in baseball, only because they are in the same I was going to say the same division, but they're the same year as the Arizona Diamondbacks. Are they not the worst road team in baseball? That is the Rockies. Once again, I will say this in case you haven't heard me say it before. Rockies, second best winning percentage at home, second worst winning percentage on the road. I've never seen a psycho team like that.
I saw it with the 76ers in basketball a couple years ago.
2 years, yeah, back in the 1920 season before, and I would have been curious to see how that played out too. If we could have seen the playoffs at home, and because as you may or may not remember, we kind of got COVIDed out there and about.
You just said the 1920 season?
What?
Yeah, it was 1920, right?
Yeah, 1920.
Yeah. Okay, I was making sure that was the right year.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't after. It wasn't after 1919. It was.
Yeah, and I know I'm messing with you. You meant the 2019-2020 season. I know I'm messing with you.
That's, you know what, that is an important thing to make sure you get clarified, because if you're listening home going the 1920s, what is that? George Mikan's grandfather played in that.
Mm-hmm.
As you guys know, of course, you are listening to Winners and Winers Radio. Give us an hour. That's all we ask, and we'll give you the winners. And you never know when we're gonna be spitting out gems. Is that a thing, Scott? Can we say that? Spitting gems?
If we keep winning farms, we can say whatever we want.
Okay, very good. And we'll get to that. We may or may not have had another successful farm day, so we'll perhaps get to that a little bit later. Of course, do remember that we do have our Bet the Farm play coming up, and we've been a little warm lately, my friend. We're kind of treading water there for the first part of it, but we have put the pedal to the metal, and we have been performing as we expected we would all along. When you put two geniuses like us together, we've actually been pretty hot over here the last couple of weeks. So let's take a look at a couple different things that are going on around the world of sports. Of course, Scott, big day coming today. It's going to be, and then we got a kind of a thing we're going to try on Thursday as football season comes online here, guys. We know why you guys are following sports betting. You're all football bettors. We get it. Basketball is fun. Baseball is some profit opportunities, but that ain't where the bread's buttered. We got football coming up, so we're going to be doing every game on the card for the Thursday show. Every FBS game. We're not going to. There's probably 20 FCS games going on. We may touch a couple of those that involve FBS schools, but we are for sure going to do every FBS team on the schedule. And then we'll be doing some special editions. You guys will have to check us out on our podcast formats, because obviously we don't do our radio shows Sunday and Monday, or Saturday and Sunday rather. So we are going to do a special edition where we do every NFL game on the board, and we are going to do our favorite, I don't know, we'll just take a look at the top 10 or so college games of the week. So that's going to be fun. Make sure you guys. Oh, Scott, the NFL did their thing, as they do every year. This time they came out with their top 100 NFL network. And as what should be really no surprise, it was Patrick Mahomes at the top of the list. So let's start with the easy one. Do you agree with that? And before you say, I'll give you the top five so you can see if somebody should be plug and played. Pat Mahomes was first, Aaron Donald second, Aaron Rodgers third, Derrick Henry fourth, and Travis Kelce fifth. So let's start right there. Any of those you disagree with? Anybody you would have plugged in instead?
I would have actually flipped Devontae Adams, who was 6, with Travis Kelce, who was 5.
Okay. You know what? And that's a good argument to make. It's Devontae Adams had a fantastic year last year, 115 receptions, 1,374 yards, 18 touchdowns in just 14 games. Because you remember, he was hurt for a couple of games, and I think if he was being honest, he probably was banged up pretty well for a couple other ones. So that was a fantastic season. Of course, Travis Kelce, I get it. He had the best season as a tight end in NFL history, 1,416 receiving yards, 105 receptions, 11 touchdowns. So that's just really, really good. But I got no beefs with you there if you want to put Devontae Adams in front of Kelce.
I just think Adams has to be top 5.
Okay. You agree with Mahomes over Rodgers?
Yes. Mahomes should be number 1. The main issue I have with the top 10, Brady shouldn't be there.
Brady's number 7, by the way.
He shouldn't be in the top 10. He arguably shouldn't be in the top 20. You can make an argument for the top 30, but I know that he won the Super Bowl. Wasn't he awful in like half of those playoff games?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, yeah.
And did he have a good regular season?
It was okay.
So why is he number 7?
So let me ask you this then: Who should be the third highest ranked quarterback?
The top 100 is based pretty much solely on last year.
Yeah,
it's got to be Josh Allen, right?
I think so.
I think Allen had a better year than Brady last year. I don't think that's close.
No. Now I was gonna ask you because Josh Allen ends up being number 10, so he's 3 spots behind Brady. So that takes away my next question, which was, do you think Josh Allen deserves to be top 10?
Yeah, Allen easily deserves to be top 10. But if you want to talk about quarterbacks and who I would have ranked above Brady as well, I think Wilson should be ranked above Brady.
For last season, or for you're talking about just as a last season award?
Yeah, if it's about last season alone, I get that Brady has the hardware because he won the championship and whatever. Right. But Wilson had no supporting cast, and he basically carried that team for the entire season.
Yeah, that's there on the receiver ranks. Now, he didn't have much of a running game, so you could make the argument that Brady had to carry a lot without.
Who did Seattle have to run the ball with, though? Carson got injured like 4 weeks into the season.
I think everybody got injured on that team as far as our running backs. They were down the depth chart there at the running back position. No question about that. So, all right, well that's decent. Now here's my other question: does a defensive player really deserve to be number 2?
When you're Aaron Donald, yeah.
Okay, well here's my argument against it. I get it. I don't think we're gonna have any argument with the fact that he's the best defensive player in the game. However, I don't think he can affect the game the way a quarterback can. I don't think he has the same effect on a game that Aaron Rodgers has. And I'll tell you why, because Aaron Rodgers is involved in every single offensive play. You can scheme away from Donald. Now, it may not play to your strengths. You may have to play, you have to play backwards, as they call it, where you're a left-handed team and you have to play the other way or whatever. But you can scheme around one defensive player. You cannot scheme around Aaron Rodgers. You can't scheme around Pat Mahomes or Josh Allen. So that's my argument to not putting a defensive player that high. So if you're looking for who makes the most impact, I don't think it's Aaron Donald. If you want to talk about who's maybe the second best player in the NFL, okay, I can go along with that.
Your thoughts? Just to confirm, this is the top 100 players, right? I don't see the word impactful in the sentence, right?
No. I see. You see, I mean, I laid out a great argument.
And you did. I'm completely throwing it in the garbage.
And then I trashed it in the last sentence.
Yes, you did.
I completely trashed my own argument, and of course, you picked up on it. So
yeah, of course. If I was making a top 5 impactful list or whatever, that'd all be quarterbacks. But I'm saying if you're talking about just
wait, did you say impactful list?
I said impactful list.
Okay. I love it. Okay, sorry.
If I was doing that, it'd be quarterbacks. But since this is just player and the actual position doesn't really matter, then Donald has to be top 3, and he's not 3.
Okay. All right, fair enough. That's good. Did we talk about Jadeveon Clowney calling out all the guards in the NFL? Did you see that?
We did not talk about it, but I feel
calling them unathletic.
We can, and then there are a couple of clips of Quinn Nelson ragdolling him last year, but we don't have to talk about that.
Yeah, he had 3 sacks in 2 years. Might want to sit this one out, Clowney.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying. Okay, so that was good. It was kind of a fun thing. You like seeing the top 100?
Not really. It means nothing to me.
Wow, you couldn't show a little excitement there for the show? Sure, I love it.
No, it's because these are player-voted awards, which aren't even awards. They don't mean anything. But I feel like the lists are always bad. And they had a really awkward moment there where Deshaun Watson was number 18 because he had to be, but they couldn't really say anything about him or not. So I thought that was kind of weird. Did you think that was weird?
What are we doing with him, by the way?
What are we doing with him?
The top 100 list kind of treated him like the Texans are treating him. It's like, well, we can't really ignore him because he's here. We've got to mention him, but we can't really do anything with him. And that's why
some music they played some music in the background. Nobody really said anything, and I'm just like, can you show some touchdowns or something? Like, he's still on the list. Like, you should probably throw him on there,
Well, that's like if you do like the top 100 of all time, you got to put OJ on there.
I actually have seen that happen before, where NFL Network did a couple of countdowns, top 10 running backs in like the 70s or whatever, and they got OJ in there, and they half say stuff, but they always cut it short. So like the clips are like 8 minutes for one guy, and OJ gets a nice like 3.5.
Yeah, I mean, he was the first guy to rush for 2,000 yards, and he was absolutely dominant when he played with the Bills.
He's one of the best running backs of all time.
He really is, and it's a shame things kind of went south a little bit.
Well, the reason why he was good in the pros was because both gloves actually fit on his hands.
Okay.
That was sitting there. Come on, that was pretty good. Come on, I had you going there for a second.
I was getting all set up for people saying that it's a shame that he had to absolutely ruin his good career by making all those bad movies, and then it got worse.
Don't insult the Naked Gun like that.
Norberg. Mm-hmm. We hardly knew ye. So, Scott, here's one I know you want to talk about. Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't do it justice. Set this up for us, would you?
So, looking at tennis, we had a bit of a bathroom controversy in the actual match. Now, Andy Murray, former top 3 player in the world, one of the best players of the last generation, had some injury issues. He's been having some surgeries. He came back, whatever. Anyway, he's against the current number 3 in the world in Tsitsipas, who we actually talked about for the U.S. Open preview on the show yesterday. And they had a bit of a war on their hands because Murray looked really good, and he won 2 of the first 3 sets, so he needed to win 1 more, while Tsitsipas needed to win 2. And then in between the 3rd and the 4th set, Tsitsipas decided to take a little bathroom break, which is supposed to be about 5 minutes.
You got to go.
He was gone about 9 or 10. There was a bit of controversy around it because there are some rumors that he was faking an injury just to get some time off. There's some other rumors that he brought his phone with him into the bathroom and received some coaching advice from his father, who's his tennis coach.
I was going to say, in fairness, who doesn't bring their phone into the bathroom if they're going to be there for a minute?
That is fair, but the reason why this is coming up for a controversy is because Tsitsipas did the exact same thing about 2-3 weeks ago, where he was in a tennis match against Zverev, and he also took a medical timeout for an indefinite amount of time, where he allegedly was on a phone call getting advice from his coach, which is frowned upon or illegal in this case. So Tsitsipas has kind of really brought light to a pretty gray area in tennis, which is the fact that you have a limit on how long you can go for breaks and what you can do, but nobody really enforces it. So if you end up violating anything by a couple of minutes or a couple of, maybe bringing a phone in or not, there are no real punishments in place for what happens if you violate them or how you can actually monitor them following those rules. So Murray post-game accused Tsitsipas of faking an injury and potentially receiving coaching advice. He kind of deflected that one, but he said he lost respect for Tsitsipas as a player, which, is the ultimate burn because, Tsitsipas made the money, but he hurt his feelings. But I thought the whole thing was fascinating.
That's like when your parents used to say, "I'm not mad, I'm just what, Scott?"
Disappointed.
I'm just disappointed. That's exactly right.
So, you have any thoughts?
Well, I was kind of surprised. When I do a little digging on this story, I was kind of surprised to find out in a 5-set match that you are allowed 2 bathroom breaks where you can go to the bathroom and change clothes.
I believe Australia's 3 because it's about 120 degrees.
Good Lord. Yeah, no kidding. And then, of course, the 3-set match, you get to go one time. I know that when it happened before, it happened when the tour was in Cincinnati. Yeah, I just figured he got all jammed up eating too much Skyline chili and had to spend a little extra time in the bathroom. It happens to the best of us.
Could be, but both those tournaments happened in the span of a month, and they both involve Tsitsipas.
So, is there anything they can do? Can you monitor that more closely? Or, I mean, what's any alternatives here?
I'm not saying you need to monitor his bathroom appearance like a parole officer, but I do think you should have a timer or something.
Okay. All right, fair
I
enough.
think because I think Murray's right. I know it sounds like it's kind of petty, but imagine you're playing 3 hours into a match and you're dominating this other guy, and then the other guy takes a break, kills the momentum, and kind of just stalls out there while potentially receiving some advice from a coach. We don't really know about that part, but maybe. I would be annoyed, wouldn't you?
Yep, I think so. All right. Well, maybe he was just superstitious. He did it before it worked, and he did it again. So, hey, we'll be back to talk about a few more superstitions right after this break. Stay tuned, everybody. Watch timer, dude.
Yep.
See Arizona hit the grand slam.
Yeah, of course. You didn't read the chat box?
No. What did it say? Moo.
Yeah, just says moo.
Nice.
Yeah.
10 seconds.
The pinch Marte is so good.
No. 5 seconds. Here we go. All right, everybody. Welcome back to the second half of Winners and Winers Radio. Give us an hour, and we'll give you the winners. Scott, we talked a little bit about superstition here to tease it coming out of the break. And this all started because Ryan Day, head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes, had a beard, and he got rid of it, shaved it before the first game, before the season opener. And he did it because he's superstitious. He's never had a beard in won football games. So, yeah, he did that. I got to thinking about it. I think people have a lot of silly superstitions. Now, as a sports bettor, I'll start. When you played sports, did you have any superstitions when you played sports?
When I played sports, I would say no. Besides, I always like to wear the same pair of sneakers. So it was more of a wardrobe thing.
Did you have any pump up music that you used to listen to?
Not really. I usually just have a playlist. I'd hit shuffle, and that was kind of it. But that's mostly just for me. It wasn't because I thought I'd do badly without it. But as a whole, it was mostly just the wardrobe. I always wore the same pair of sneakers. Felt it was more comfortable that way. You have anything like that?
Oh yeah, I used to listen to Iron Man.
Okay.
Was kind of my get fired up music. And,
Ozzy?
Black Sabbath, yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, that was always kind of course, that was before Metallica, that was before like Andrew WK. I think if I was playing these days, I'd listen to Andrew WK, because if you can listen to Andrew WK and not be fired up, you're dead. There's something wrong.
Let's get a party going.
Yeah, is there more a good feeling bounce around song than that?
Jump around. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. It gets
Do you like jump around? You a Cypress Hill guy?
It's okay. It's fine.
I know. It's a Wisconsin.
I know.
Thing, yeah.
I know it is. It's you guys do the, what do you call it? The worm, where you go back and forth.
It's just the fourth quarter jump around.
You do that, but I mean, you invented the thing where you go every other row.
Yes, but that has nothing to do with the actual song.
I'm just equating it with the whole Wisconsin experience.
It's definitely an experience. Let's put it that way.
Bum, 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 bum,
Between you and me, it hasn't helped us. It hasn't helped Wisconsin beat Ohio State in about a decade. So,
well, maybe somebody should start shaving beards.
Maybe.
You're going to shave your beard before the regular season?
Maybe not. Depends how lazy I am.
You guys should go Timmy-less before college basketball starts.
See, it depends on what your team is, because like you have a team that should actually be good,
right?
I kind of just accept the fact that my team's probably gonna be bad anyway, so it takes the pressure off of me, At least that's how I look at it.
I should find the most ridiculous facial hair on like Arkansas Pine Bluff, and just go for that look.
That's definitely an idea. You have any superstitions as a gambler?
Yeah, mainly it comes down to watching the game versus not watching the game.
Yeah.
If I've got action on a game and I turn it on, it's going well, then I'll keep watching it. If I turn it on and things start happening that aren't good, I'll immediately switch it. If things are going well and I turn it on, all of a sudden, like a couple things, nope, turn it right back off again. And I know it's ridiculous. There's no sense to it at all, but yep, there it is. Of course, I have to admit, Scott, when I throw the dice off the table, the craps game, same dice, baby. Same dice. Shooter request, same dice, sir.
You got the same feel.
Gotta have the same feel, man.
Mm-hmm.
We used to call that, by the way, working a craps table, we call that a John Milton roll. Why? Paradise lost, my friend.
Nice.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Nice.
You got any superstitions when it comes to gambling?
Yeah. Same thing as you with the watching. I feel like everybody does that, where if your team's not doing well or whatever, you just decide, I got to try something. It sounds really stupid, but
I know, dude.
You got to do it.
I'm the same way.
Do you have a signature chair or like position that you'll watch the events in?
No, but I'll tell you a story. We went up to watch the Kansas City Chiefs play the Indianapolis Colts about 6-7 years ago. All right.
Is that the Andrew Luck game?
Yes. Yeah. It was
Okay.
it was the game that I think the Chiefs were up, I want to say 38, or they were up 31-3, I think, at halftime.
I think it was 38-10.
Well, they immediately scored. They had a pick six to start the second half, and they took it to 38-10. But at halftime, my buddy had a guy that was over at his house, and he left. He said, well, come on, sit in the comfortable chair, because I'd been sitting like in a folding chair. And I got up and I sat in a different chair, and I said, I just want you to know, if the Chiefs lose, it's completely my fault because I changed chairs. And that's exactly what happened. You know the rest of the story. Indianapolis had an unbelievable comeback. So to this day, everyone in that room, my son, my best friend, everybody blames me for that loss.
And you can't go back to the other chair, because once you do it, the superstition's already gone.
I tried it. It didn't matter.
Doesn't work.
It just continued to roll downhill. So that was a terrible mistake on my part. And I apologize to all Chiefs fans for doing that, man. That was just absolutely brutal. What's the goofiest one you've ever heard of?
Trying to remember if I've heard any really, really goofy ones. I've had a couple of friends who stand during the entire game.
At their house?
Yeah, like if they're standing and the team's doing well, they will just refuse to sit down.
Huh. Okay.
It's kind of the same thing as a chair idea, except it's a little bit more uncomfortable. You?
Yeah, that's definitely their run to the Super Bowl. We had where we wore the same thing that we wore like for the opening round of the playoffs. We didn't change. So I
had a playoff beard one time.
You had a playoff beard?
Actually twice. I did it for the Islanders, and they lost in the Eastern Conference Finals. And then I did it for the Yankees a couple years ago, and they lost to Houston in 7, I think.
But you're a pretty swarthy guy. What'd it take you, like an afternoon to grow a beard?
It takes me usually a week. The issue is I never actually get to connect the mustache to the beard. For some reason, it just doesn't grow in these spots. Yeah. So it looks not pleasant, but that's how my beard grows.
I think you should just get rid of stop fighting it. Get rid of the mustache. Get rid of the soul patch. Just go full chin strap Amish. That's what.
Really a move. It's a move.
You'd fit in well in Missouri, buddy. You're good to go. You like Budweiser?
I can drink it.
You're in. You're absolutely in. You went to Wisconsin, so you got like Miller, right?
Yeah, but anything that was available is the right answer.
And whatever's in the keg, boys. That's
pretty much.
That's exactly right. All right, bud. Well, we've got a pretty full slate of MLB action here today, and yeah, there's some interesting games. Anything that gets your attention, Scott? It's probably my favorite day of the week to bet baseball, because we have a full slate and we very rarely have any afternoon games unless there's some kind of makeup doubleheader or shenanigans going on. There's usually nothing going on. Of course, the earliest game is going to be St. Louis at Cincinnati. Once again, that's a 6:40 Eastern start time. St. Louis making a little run there, buddy. This is a big series in the NL wild card, as St. Louis took down the first one behind the absolute dealing of who, Scott?
John Lester.
John freaking Lester. Never a doubt, my friend. Actually, Lester had been terrible, and it was. Did you see it coming? I know you claimed you mentioned the fact you like Lester. I did not remember that happening. I'm not going to say it didn't happen. I'm just
truth is, I might not have mentioned it on the show. I don't fully recall, but I do remember personally thinking about taking Lester, just because I really thought Cincinnati was just going to have a complete no-show for some reason. You ever get that hunch where you just think one team's not going to show up?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And they're really, and it's one of the hardest things to do as a sports bettor because, when you've been doing this long and you've had a fair amount of success, you want to be able to justify every pick you make. You want to back it up with numbers and trends and analytics and all that. And you're like, you know what? I feel like Lester's going to have it today. And Ned Yost made a career out of managing that way, just ignoring the analytics and bunting in the first inning and stuff like that. So, yeah, it definitely happens, and that's exactly what happens. Lester was absolutely dealing as they win that one 3-1 over Luis Castillo, and there's another guy that's hard to get a beat on.
Mm-hmm. He wasn't bad. It was just Lester was so good.
Yeah, that's the thing. So you've got Miles Mikolas going today against Sonny Gray. Cincinnati once again big favorite here, minus 145. Mikolas got a late start on the season, was hurt, but he's actually pitched pretty well. St. Louis sneak one out here at an underdog price, Scott?
I think they could. I do think the Reds will be leading after 5, so I'm actually going to go with the Reds' first 5 on the run line there. Gray's been really good lately, and Mikolas, I'd say his numbers are okay, but he seems to always get into trouble, and he kind of tries to use finesse to sneak his way out of it. I think the Reds will get to him for maybe 2 or 3 runs early. I think Gray will pitch well. My hot take is I think the Reds bullpen blows the game. But I do think the first 5, I think Gray's the better pitcher. You?
Are you really going to try to thread the needle there, buddy?
I actually am. It's just a personal hunch. I think it'll be like 3-2, and then the Reds bullpen is going to blow it.
Okay, so there you have it. It's the ultimate thread the needle situation. Scott says Reds first 5, Cardinals full game. And then you get a nice price on that too. I guarantee it.
Don't quote me on that, but
I've already done that. So Sorry, buddy. It's hard not to fade this Reds bullpen. They are absolutely not good. And the ironic part was they weren't terrible yesterday, but they couldn't do any kind of damage at all. Of course, I had them the day before. They did nothing. They got shut out 2-0. So all of a sudden, the Reds offense, which has pretty much been the only good thing about this team all season long, is sudden in the deep freeze. They put up just 2 runs in the last 2 games total against Miami, and then they put up 1 run in the full game against St. Louis. So 3 straight games they put up 1 run. Tough to win when you just score 1. It's not unheard of, but it certainly can happen. And they've scored 1 run in 4 of their last 6, Scott. So I think there's a definite value proposition to be had there with the St. Louis Cardinals. I'll take that at a plus money price.
Now, looking at everything else, though, we mentioned it on the rocking chair, but I kind of like this play to hit again. I like the Phillies and Nationals over. It's at roughly 9.5. You got Moore versus Corbin on the mound. We know Corbin's been terrible all year long. Underratedly, Matt Moore, no surprise, has also been terrible this season. And we've talked about the fact that the Nationals bullpen's been terrible this season. So is the Phillies bullpen. But you can go through the meetings, and the last handful of meetings have had at least 9 runs, just to do the quick math. 3, 4, each of the last, I believe it's 7, have had at least 9 runs. I think you'll see 10 plus here. Cashed in 3 innings yesterday. I think you'll see both these teams combined for at least 10. You?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go. I'm going to have to go along with you, Scott, because when you look at it, they've definitely played a lot of big time games here lately. They, like you said, they've played the last 4 have gone 13, 14, 9, and 12. So they have definitely played.
That's not including the 11 from yesterday.
No, that's right. That's right. So yeah, 6 of the last 8 have gone over 9. So I've got to play the over there. You've got 2 pitchers going with 6+ ERAs, 1 terrible bullpen all season, 1 terrible bullpen lately. I'll play the over there with you. I think that's a very solid play. Any value? Well, I thought we might be able to pick up a nice price there with Brandon Woodruff going, but that is not the case, as Alex Wood has the COVID. Johnny Cueto may also have the COVID, Scott. I know I don't want to start any rumors, but Alex Wood, he's on the COVID list. Johnny Cueto missed his start because flu-like symptoms.
I don't know how big the pitching room is. We're in San Francisco.
Great question. That is a great question indeed. By the way, guys, quick reminder, you are listening to Winners and Winers Radio. Give us an hour and we'll give you the winners. And that's exactly what we're doing right here as we take a look at the MLB card. You like Woodruff in that one against whatever tomato can San Francisco throws up there?
I think I kind of have to. We know Woodruff's one of the most underrated pitchers in the league. He has been for a couple of years. San Francisco using a backup option, which might also lead to a bullpen day. Not a great spot. And since the Giants, we've mentioned how they're undervalued. I'm assuming, though, that the Brewers will be 130, 135 tops, give or take. So I still think you got value on Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think so too. I think there is going to be some value there. I might even consider playing them on the run line. Although, man, you start counting on Milwaukee to score a bunch of runs and you find yourself frequently disappointed. So
definitely true.
So, Scott, how about the big game, the big number on the board? Toronto Blue Jays, once again, massive favorite over Baltimore as Hyun-Jin Ryu goes for Toronto against Keegan Aiken. You can find this one priced somewhere in the minus 330 range, depending on where you go. Any value here at all on this game?
I think if you want value, look for a team total of some kind, but from an actual spread or anything like that, no. I know Aiken was good in his last start against the Angels. Good for him. He figured it out for one start. Toronto, in the actual home ballpark that they're supposed to play in, have been really good at the Rogers Center. I think they'll continue to play well. You look at what the offense did yesterday, scored 7 runs. They look sharp. Guerrero seems to be back after he went a little bit quiet there for a couple of weeks.
Yep.
My prediction's just pure pain for Baltimore. So Toronto team total or something, but you're going to find no value on the run line unless you get like minus 2.5 with a home team that might not bat in the ninth.
Didn't we call him out? Is obviously another guy that listens to the show quite a bit. Didn't we talk about how we hadn't heard from Guerrero in the last 3 weeks?
Oh, we had to, because we're talking about the fact that Ohtani was going to run away with the MVP unless Guerrero went nuts in September.
Right. And well, so far it's not quite September yet, but he's certainly closing out August in fine fashion. So, Yeah, I don't have any desire to lay that big number. Keegan Aiken, Scott, he was very good his last time out. Do you think that's just a one-off, or is he learning how to pitch?
I trust Toronto in Toronto when it comes to hitting the ball. So I'll go with the team total.
All right, fair enough. And I think we're going to get that as a juice over 5.5.
Yeah.
Because 9.5 is the total.
Assuming minus 130.
I don't think you're going to see 6.5.
No.
Yeah, I think that's going to be about right.
Yep.
Any value on our boy Scooball, or are we going to take advantage of an underpriced Oakland Athletics team, as Oakland is about a minus 115 favorite over Detroit? If you look at their records, obviously Oakland a lot better team, but you got Scooball on the mound. You got Tarek Scooball on the mound, Scott.
Scooball's been good lately. I know that he burned me in his last start. Wasn't his fault, but I took him first 5 against Leicester, and he ended up losing 2-1 on 2 solo home runs by Goldschmidt, which hurt. But I actually like Oakland in this spot. I know Scooball's been pitching really well for the last month, but Oakland was in the gutter, and they looked like they were falling apart. And then they rallied to beat the Yankees in the last 2 games of that series. I think that might have, led to a bit of a spark. We know baseball is a streaky sport, and teams, despite how good they might be, always seem to go on slumps every now and then at the course of a season. Oakland might have needed something to kickstart them back into form. I think beating the Yankees those 2 games, especially the Sunday night baseball game, which was very entertaining, I do think will lead them back on track. At the end of the day, Detroit's been better than people thought. They're still not a good baseball team. They've just been better than what the expectations were for them going into the season.
Right, yeah, they're 7 under, which it ain't bad.
Yeah, I'll take Oakland.
Yeah, I agree. And this Oakland is a team that's been very good on the road, 35-28 on the road this season, so they're no stranger to getting it done there.
I actually like I like the under in that one as well.
You like the under 9?
Yeah, I think Scooball is going to pitch well. I think Irvin will pitch well. At the end of the day, Oakland's offense has been struggling for the last couple of weeks, and Detroit's offense has been better than people thought. But you really just go down the lineup. Are there really many guys that just scare you on that team? Not really.
No. Oh, and this is a Detroit team that's really slumped over the last week, averaging just 2.3 runs per game over their last 7 games. That ain't going to get it done right there. But the part that surprised me the most, Scott, is how much better this Detroit Tigers bullpen has become.
Yep.
They now have a sub-4 ERA, at least at home. So I don't hate that. I probably prefer to play the first 5 if we can get under 4.5. I probably like that play a little bit better. But yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm probably as far as the side goes, I'd probably fade you just based on Irvin's recent performances.
He has not been great. I'll admit that.
He hasn't. He's given up 11 earned over his last 3 starts. That covers just 14 innings. So yeah, you know what? Detroit's been jumping up and biting us all year. I'm gonna get on the Detroit train there, and outthink them. That's what I'm gonna do, Scott.
Okay, fair enough.
What else we got? Anything else? What else do you see?
I'm looking at the over potentially with the Cubs and Twins. I know both teams you hate to bet on alone, so why not take the over on them together? You got Davies and Gant. We've seen the Gant starter experiment in Minnesota. It's been a disaster. And Davies, we know his stuff isn't exactly dynamic. He kind of tries to get through with smoke and mirrors. Yeah. You're in target field. The Cubs gave up 13 runs in their last game. They gave up 17 in another game over the weekend. The pitching really wasn't that good. We know the bullpen stink for both teams. 9.5, I think it's too low. I think with the hitters-friendly ballpark, I think you'll see some bombs. I'll take the over.
Okay. Yeah, I don't hate that. Nice summer night. The ball's gonna fly. I think we're getting a pretty good price on fading the Cooch. Houston minus 150. I don't hate the run line there. We're gonna get a little plus money on the run line. What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say I can't believe you're turning your back on the Cooch.
Turn my back on the Cooch, buddy. He's not been good. Not been good lately. You got to know you can't get involved betting with your head. He's given up 14 earned runs in his last 3 starts, and that covers, of course, just 12 innings.
Yes, but you're forgetting that only one of those 2 starting pitchers made the All-Star game.
You're right. The Cooch did make the All-Star game. It was not Lance McCullers. They did have this same game about a week ago, Scott, about a week and a half ago on the 20th. And it didn't go well for the Cooch as he went just 2 2/3 innings, gave up 7 earned on 7 hits, including not 1, not 2, but 3 round trippers in less than 3 innings.
I was teasing before, but doesn't Houston own this guy? Every year?
Yes, they have. There's been no mystery of the Cooch so far.
They smack him every time.
They really do, and Houston had all their hands full last night, but I think it's going to be a different situation here in this one. I'll take Houston on the run line there at plus money. Okay. Got time for one more?
Well, looking at anything else that I actually like, I'm looking at. I know this sounds kind of a cheap way out because they're favored, but I like Bueller at home because it's Bueller at home. Right. I know Morton's been good lately. Yankees start didn't go too well, and Atlanta did win 2 out of 3 against the Giants, but Bueller is just so good. There's really just no way around it. He's probably going to win the Cy Young. You can probably get him first 5 -0.5, probably around like -120, -130.
Yeah.
I don't hate that. I think Bueller's tremendous. You?
Yeah, I'm with you. It's just how to play this. I don't want to take Los Angeles at home on the run line. This team they go in those weird little slumps where they just don't score, I
don't know if it'll be 4.5, 3.5 for team totals. It's a tricky spot.
Yes, it will be 4. It will be 4.5, 3.5.
You like the under 3.5 for Atlanta?
5 run. Yeah, that's probably if I was gonna play a total. That's probably how I'd lean. I might just suck it up and play the Dodgers -165. I know that's just way more wood than I normally like to lay. But
that's how I feel.
All right, Scott. Well, it is time once again for you and I to put our heads together, come up with our very favorite play of the day. The one play to make if you had to put all your chips in the middle and put it all in one game. This is the one we would recommend. Put on your overalls, climb on your John Deere, fire that bad boy up, Scott, because it's once again time for Bet the Farm. All right, very good, my friend. As we mentioned, we have been doing fairly well on our farm plays. How did we do yesterday, Scott?
We had the Diamondbacks team total over 3.5 runs, and they scored more than that on one pitch because Marte hit a grand slam, and they went over 3.5.
Never a doubt, my friend. Never a doubt at all. It's my favorite song in the world, I got to be honest with you.
Good stuff.
All right, so let's kick it off. Who we got today?
So, looking at the baseball card, we're going to be sticking with the idea of taking an underdog with a team total. We like the Cleveland Indians team total over 3.5 at about -130 on DraftKings. The Indians have done very well against Kansas City so far this season, 8-1 overall, but offensively, they have scored 4 runs or more in 7 of the first 9 meetings. Mike Minor is pitching for Kansas City. Last month, not good, 29 1/3 innings pitched, 5.22 ERA, and Minor has faced Cleveland twice this season, 9 1/3 innings pitched, 8.68 ERA. We think he's going to struggle. He tends to give up at least 3 runs in every start he's in, and we think Cleveland will do enough to get to at least 4.
Yep, completely agree there. Royals bullpen has been better, but they're still not great shakes. They're probably good for at least a run. Mike Minor, interesting stat, Scott. In none of his starts has he had a clean game. He has not pitched 5 or 6 innings and given up 0 runs. He gives up runs in every start. So, yep, we're going to play the Cleveland Indians / Guardians team total over 3.5, and that is going to do it for Bet the Farm, and that is going to do it for our show today. As always, we appreciate you guys listening, appreciate you watching on YouTube, and we appreciate you downloading us on all your favorite podcast platforms, Google Play, Spotify, Anchor, all that good stuff. So make sure you check it out each and every day. We appreciate you joining us. For myself and for Scott, thanks very much for the effort. We'll be back tomorrow on Winners and Whiners Radio. Take care, everybody.